On the big screen, the adventures of Ant-Man the Wasp seem like a fantastic time. However, over the many years the duo have existed, there have been a few not so great moments that Disney and Marvel seem to want to sweep under the rug in light of their recent trend towards more family-friendly imagery, due in part to the success of the MCU. And when I say that things get a bit dark, I mean it. As you will see when you hear about these few plot lines from the comics the House of Mouse wants you to forget about. If you enjoy this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Click the bell to be notified when we upload fresh content. Wifebeater. On screen, Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne seem like such a loving couple, and as cold as Hank comes across at times, he clearly has good intentions. At one point in the 80s, however, he wasn't quite so mild-mannered. After a wee bit of a mental breakdown, Pym is suspended from active duty with the Avengers. He concocts a plan to get back into their good graces, using a robot that he programs to attack them that he plans to swoop in and take out at a critical moment. Janet learns of this, however, and tries to stop him, only to be met by the back of his hand. For the crime of being, you know, a wife beater, he was expelled from the Avengers, and Janet later divorced him. Obviously, this wouldn't exactly gel all that well with the MCU's image. Iron Man and the Wasp. After the divorce, Janet actually wound up dating around quite a bit, striking up romances with a few different people. One such person was the billionaire playboy philanthropist himself, Tony Stark. It's worth noting that Janet actually didn't know that Stark was Iron Man at the time, as he still had a secret identity. Once she figured it out, however, she quickly ended the relationship, as she didn't want to date either a coworker or friend of her ex-husband. Of course, this would sort of damage the image of two of the biggest and most solid couples in modern Marvel media, so it would be a bit odd to let the idea of the two of them dating each other linger, instead of pairing them with Hank and Pepper respectively. Irredeemable Ant-Man. Outside of Hank Pym and Scott Lang, there has actually been a third person to don the mantle of Ant-Man, and he was not exactly a great person. Eric O'Grady was a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who stole an experimental version of the Ant-Man suit. What do you think he did with it? Saved babies? Maybe helped old ladies across the street? Nope, instead he used it to steal and peep on women in the shower. He's a real class act. He would even use his powers to save only women he found attractive, which he would then use as a reason to try to get them to sleep with him. While he did eventually become a bit more heroic before he was eventually killed, it makes sense why Disney hasn't really highlighted this particular version of the character. Ultron's daddy. 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron introduced non-comic fans to one of Marvel's greatest villains, Ultron, the evil murder bot. However, they sort of forgot to mention one major part of the character's backstory, that his creator was none other than Hank Pym. In fact, the murderous automaton was brought to life using Hank's own brain patterns, which explains why it has a sort of Oedipal interest in Janet Van Dyne and a burning hatred for Hank. There was even a time when Ultron sort of possessed Hank's body, allowing him to control his maker and trick all of his friends. Comics are weird, folks. Makes sense though why they changed it. Hank wasn't in the MCU yet, and it works a bit better for Tony's arc if he created Ultron instead. Are there any other obscure parts of Ant-Man and the Wasp's past that Disney may want you to forget about that we didn't talk about here? Let us know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to Screen Rant for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you at the movies.